Hello, Internet, and welcome back to Antiheroes Anonymous, or welcome for the first time if it is your first time joining us. I'm Ethan, and I'm the DM for this 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons show. Going around the table, we have the 4 lovely players, starting with Nick.
Hi, I'm Nick. I play Thaddeus, the human paladin of Bazaar.
I'm Kay, and I play Harmony, who is a tiefling wild magic sorcerer.
And I'm Melissa, and I play Mara, who is a human rogue pirate.
Let's see. We stream on Twitch every Monday at 7 p.m. Oh, I skipped Zach. Whoa, I was so in my brain.
No, it's okay. I'm a spectator today.
Yeah, Zach's not playing.
I was like, is this foreshadowing? Is Hunter going to die today?
Yeah.
No,
I'm Zach. I'm a phantom.
I'm so in my
Yeah.
brain because it feels like we haven't done this in forever.
It's been like 2 weeks.
Go ahead.
I'm Zach. I'm a phantom. I play Hunter, who's a warforged fighter.
Ironically, your character card was the one that was on screen at the moment. Okay. We stream on Twitch every Monday at 7 p.m. Pacific time, then post those episodes to YouTube the following Wednesday. Throughout the show, we use a variety of custom items and even a custom wild magic table. And I'll have some more info on that in a second. Our music comes from BattleBards, TabletopAudio, and Incompetech. So if you're watching and you like any of the music, that's where you can go to find those. If you're watching us on Twitch, you can check the channel page for links and info. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can check the video description for similar information. Then if you're following us on Twitter, at Antiheroes which you can also find on the Twitter or the Twitch or YouTube page, you can get information about when we're streaming, when we have to take random breaks, and things like that. We have new character bio cards, which are super cool. You can see them in the right-hand corner. So you can look at those to get a little bit of info about each character. And then other than that, enjoy the show, share with your friends, come back for more, and without further ado, we'll get into a little recap as we attempt to summarize the crazy amount of things that have happened in the past few sessions.
Oh my god.
Right. So, the Hands of the World struck again, taking Leah Moonbrook, who was a divination
eyes,
wizard.
sorry, I screwed up that.
Eyes of the
yes, Eyes of the World. Struck again, taking Leah Moonbrook, who was a divination wizard that the party was protecting from them. Taking her on the day of a gala that was being held in honor of Thaddeus' father. Seeing a premonition of her own fate, she entrusted her crystal ball to Mara, as well as cast a spell on Mara that let Mara see a few seconds into the future constantly for some amount of hours. Hunter then did his best to salvage what was left of Wen, his friend and fellow victim of the Eyes of the World. Harmony, despondent over Wen's sudden death and Cial's sudden departure, adopted a stray dog, which she then took to the gala.
Sure
dressed
did.
up in
She's got
Thaddeus' sister's
baby
clothes,
baby
right?
clothes, and like a piece of ribbon as like a leash. Yep.
At the gala, the group met some old friends who included a young woman named Dawn, who turned out to be much more than a simple priestess of Pelor, and was in fact the princess of the entire continent of Freydin. So that's pretty much where we left off. The gala was underway, and the royal family had made their procession and taken their seats at the high table with the king, the queen, and Dawn, those three. And there was also a bit of a romantic moment between Thaddeus and Dawn.
Well,
that was
Not really romantic, more of
some sort of connection.
exchange of glances.
So that's where we're going to pick up. Let me go ahead and get some music. What's good music for this party? I don't know.
This is
Do
your job.
Kiss the Girl from
it's something
Little
super
Mermaid.
classy.
La, 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 la.
Kiss
Super
the
classy.
girl.
Class it up.
See, I failed. I didn't really get any good classy music. I need just like some... okay, here, we'll go with this. Good enough. Call me? Sure.
Sure.
So, the royal family had taken their seats at the high table, and at that point, the announcer who announced their presence speaks up again and says, With the royal family seated, the feast will commence shortly. Please take your seats. And there's a bustle of movement as people around the room start to make for various tables.
Okay.
Do the tables have like assigned seating? They have like names by all of the
There is
places?
one table that has assigned seating, which is the table for the Hammerlock family. But other than that, no.
Yeah, I have to go sit up there. You guys fend for yourselves.
There are 3
I mean, you
seats.
basically already told us that last time.
There are 3 seats
Well,
at
while
the
we're
table
recapping,
with-
I just thought I'd recap a little bit of
Yeah,
that there.
yeah.
As you pull the agenda out, fend for yourselves.
There are 3 seats available at the table with Bree and Aramel and Ignatius.
Yeah, I want to hang out with them.
Yeah, me too.
Mara, if I
Okay.
recall, was off robbing people blind.
Yeah.
Yes,
Do you want to make your way over and sit with them, or do you want to sit with someone else?
No,
Or
I
the
might as
original
well sit
table.
with him.
Okay. So yeah, you finally make your way back across the room to their table, which is near the back of the hall. And you can see that they're sitting with a halfling woman who looks like she didn't dress up for the occasion at all. She's just grubby and grimy in her
So
chainmail
pretty.
armor. And there is a elven woman, you can tell by the pointed ears and the very angular features, who is wearing these like the skull of a panther or some sort of large cat on his head, but is otherwise dressed in typical finery. And then lastly, there is a creature who is altogether strange in that his body is covered with golden scales that sort of reflect the light of this room in weird and scintillating patterns. And then you can see that his fingertips culminate in claws, like actual dragon's claws. And then his head, instead of a humanoid's head, is pulled out in like a lizard-like snout. And he has a tiny little tail too.
Tiny little tail.
And he's
Like really tiny?
This big.
no,
smaller
not
than
super
mine?
tiny, but I mean like it's like compared to Harmony's, which is sort of long, whip-like. It's thicker and more muscled, but not quite as long. I'd say.
More stubby.
Yeah,
Stubby.
but all of that is sort of hidden under some fine robes that he's put on.
Oh, I thought he was wearing a suit.
Oh, was he? Did I say suit?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, he's wearing a suit.
Okay.
You gotta
I
catch
trust
me
your
when
nose.
I mess that up.
Well, I trust your notes over the DM.
Yeah.
Any day.
I also trust your notes on the fine details because I didn't write those fine details in my notes. So
Can I use Know Your Enemy on the robed figure that was watching people?
oh yes,
Get an idea of
yes.
its total
Oh, yeah,
class
that guy.
levels?
So that figure, now that the royal family has come in and taken their seats, you can see that figure is, instead of sitting at one of the tables, sort of sitting back against the back wall behind the royal family's table. Yeah, what does that feature let you do?
If I could spend 1 minute observing them or interacting, then you can tell me if he's equal to, superior, or inferior in regard to 2 characteristics of my choice. I want to know his hit points and total class levels.
And it takes like a minute of study, right?
Yeah, I just watch him, kind of observe him for a minute.
Let me just pull up
But
this.
I could do it with Bree and them too if I've been talking to them for over a minute as well.
So you want his hit points and his class levels. Right?
Yeah,
He has 99 hit points. So is that more or less than you?
that's more.
Okay, so he has superior hit points to you. And then do you find out his class levels or whether his class levels are more than yours?
It doesn't give me specifics. It just says superior, equal to, superior, or inferior.
Okay. He has
So you can give me as much as well, I guess.
he
as
has
you
more
want.
class levels than you do.
Oh, jeez.
And you can tell this as you sort of observe him, because you can see he's this sort of he has the same skin tone that people from, or a very similar skin tone to people from the Elderhaven Reaches, which you would recognize immediately. And then he sort of bears himself in a way that you can just tell that he has, even though he's got sort of like a slight and trim figure to him, like he's not a bulky guy. You can tell that he has physical hardiness and experience, just by watching the way that he sort of holds himself with like a practice dignity, I guess. And that's sort of how you get that information.
Alright.
But he's not wearing the black robes that you typically associate with the eyes of the world. He has these dark blue robes, I believe.
He looks at me.
Yeah, and then as Mara sort of approaches, Bree sees her coming and just sort of ignores her as she approaches. But then when she gets closer and tries to take a seat, Bree's like, no, you're gonna have to sit somewhere else. Sorry, no weirdos at this table.
Bree, you're the biggest weirdo here. She's with us.
All right. Well, if you're with these assholes, then I guess you're cool.
I don't know. It's a
toss sort of
up
reclines
between.
back again.
Yes, I guess I am a fellow.
It's a
asshole.
toss up between you and Pantherhead over here.
Aramil looks like a little bit indignant, like raising an eyebrow, but then doesn't say anything.
So hold on, Dawn. Why is she up there with the king and queen?
Yeah, that's a big surprise.
Yeah.
We didn't tell you that before. Well,
Is she like? I mean, she's a priestess or something, right? Is she like in their service?
Well, yeah. You know how there's this thing, royalty often from this country, they go off and they practice in temples in a dais. It's just a thing that they do. It's like a fashion.
Oh yeah, Thaddeus did something like that.
Yeah. Dawn, she's the princess here.
Wait, she's the princess?
Yeah, those are her parents, king and queen.
I'm gonna lean over to Hunter and say, I made the princess reconstruct the government in Ravenmore.
Maybe she was the right elected official.
Oops. Well, cool. Well, how did you guys all like become a thing then? If she's a princess, like, what are you? Are you a princess?
Bree like laughs, like a really hearty, heavy laugh. Like,
Listen,
that's the
Harmony
most
is a
ridiculous.
princess.
You're
This is
not.
This is not.
This is true.
This is not a character.
This is true.
Yeah, but like
I was gonna say that too. Like, I mean, I'm a princess. Is everybody a princess?
I'm a princess.
Mara, are you a princess?
I want to be a princess.
Are you a
How do
pirate
get to be a princess? Maybe I am.
Pirate princess? I mean, your grandfather was what? Who was your grandfather? Have you told us about your grandfather? I can't remember. No? Never mind then.
I don't think so. I don't think I would.
Do we know that you were a pirate? We just know that you're...
I knew that you
one of
had
the
connections with the fog because you started questioning me about it.
Yeah.
So I can only
Okay.
guess that you
Never mind.
encountered it on a sailing
On a
journey.
ship, Yeah. Well, plus in
Um,
the way I'm dressed. I look like a
You look like a pirate. A pirate
she does
princess.
have a distinctly
Yeah.
piratey.
appearance.
Yeah, Bree laughs this like really hearty laugh, and the scar that she has, which stretches from her left ear to the right side of her chin and then down the neck, disappearing into her chainmail, stretches as she laughs.
Gross.
And then when she's finally done laughing, she says, No. I'm Dawn's, you could say best friend, I guess, if you want to use a girly term like that. General bad influence.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, Dawn used to sneak out of the palace and we'd go play and stuff like that. It's no big deal.
I'm sure it is to her.
Well, I mean, she can make of it what she wants, but we've always had each other's backs, and so when she went to a dais, I went with her. When she came back, I came back with her. It's just the way it's been. And these two, and Bree points at the other two. Aramil, we met. He's from another plane.
Planet?
Another planet. Another
You
plane.
said planet.
Yeah, he explains it better, and she sort of like defers to him. And Aramil, who has been sort of like staring off into space until this point,
Into another plane.
Looking for his planet in some world.
he turns to the two of you and says, "I'm from the Feywild, actually. It's I'm not sure how much you know of other planes, but it's sort of it's a mirror plane to this one.
Kind of like the Shadow Realm.
Yes, very similar. I'm from an enclave of druids that reside there, and then the archdruid of my clan sensed an impending threat to the balance of nature in this realm. And since our realms are so intrinsically linked, I was sent out to try and see what I could find out about that. And I ran into this group, and the rest is history.
I want to ask him in Fae if he knows.
Oh, and Sylvan?
Or in Sylvan, if he knows Corey. I think that was the Dryad's name, right? Yeah.
Let's see. I'm sure he does speak Sylvan.
Nice.
He replies to you back in Sylvan. Corey, yes. What was the full name for Corey?
Coriander.
Coriander, yes. I believe we met as our group was leaving Ravenmoor. She was recently regrowing a limb, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, her arm or something? Yeah.
Yes, I do know her.
Okay. We encountered her in our travels as well.
However,
I step on Hunter's foot under the table.
Yeah, she
Really hard.
It's like clang. I don't
It's
feel
really
it.
loud.
Well, I'm barefoot though, actually.
Yeah, so you like hurt yourself.
So I don't know if it would make a big clang sound because it's just like.
You would when you
Slap.
scream though. You're like, ah!
Yeah.
I don't feel a thing.
Though Aramil then does say, I would caution you that not all fey creatures know each other.
Oh, okay.
Just like not all warforged know each other.
That's true. Some do though.
What about Mr. Shiny Pants over here?
Yeah, right, Ignatius. And you can see Ignatius, the Dragonborn,
Is he still handing out
is
things?
sort of twiddling his thumbs and fidgeting a little bit in his seat. But Bree speaks for him and says, yeah, he's got the weirdest story. He literally, apparently, I wasn't there. I was off doing my own thing in the city, but one of the shifts when Dawn was on the shift at the Temple of Pelor in Adeus, she was on duty, and there was a loud sound of thunder from outside, and apparently, the way she tells it, she ran outside, and she was just in time to see Ignatius smack straight into the cobble from who knows where, straight above.
From the sky.
Fell from the sky. Landed right in the street.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's the way she tells it anyways. A little bit far-fetched, I guess. But... yeah, and I don't know. Ignatius, he doesn't really know much about the ways of people. He's a little different. And he's just sort of like looking around, not really saying anything.
Does he speak common?
Uh,
I kind of wave my hand in front of his face.
yeah, he replies
Hello?
to you, I do speak common.
Oh, okay. Just checking. What other languages do you know?
Is she?
Does he know bottle?
No, he doesn't.
Aramil that.
Do you know this bottle we met?
Yeah.
Well, I learned to speak the language of dragons, and this one over here, he points at Aramil, has taught me a little bit of the Elvish tongue.
I know the language of dragons too.
Oh, do you? And
Yes.
he starts speaking a little bit in Draconic, very excitedly.
I'm just gonna speak Glavin in Draconic now. It's very rusty. I haven't used it in a long time.
You could use it with Candace.
I know.
I think they have like different accents too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you would actually. His Draconic has sort of a like there's more enunciation on each of the harder consonants, and then yours is probably
sounds closer to Infernal than Draconic.
yeah. I think it would be a little bit softer as well because it's sort of more the
It's more
Draconic that is associated with spellcasting.
Spellcasting, yeah.
So it has more of the melodic notes to it.
I'm just gonna tell him all about, or I'm gonna ask him all about himself and talk about my tribe and all that stuff in Draconic.
He's very
And
interesting.
I'm gonna be sneaking glances at Hunter to see if he understands.
And Hunter doesn't care.
Yeah, he's really interested to hear about your tribe, but the more you talk to him about, as you probe into like his history, the more and more you find that he doesn't know anything before he smacked the cobble
That's cool.
in Adeus. So his memory is just a blank.
I'll like tell him about my wild magic. Be like, that's happened to me before, but it's because of my magic.
Oh, you're a magic user.
Yes. It's
Actually,
a
I
little
recall
bit
that.
of a long
I
story.
do recall.
Yeah, I think I
When
kind
you-
of trounced your butts before with my magic.
Yes.
I
that did
also
happen.
exploded a noble.
Well, if you'll recall, I
Oh, the
do
good old
use a little
days.
bit of magic myself. I
Macagic.
have a. That's the draconic word.
I'll write that down.
Macagic.
Macagic.
Yes,
Magic and mechanics.
as you can see, I have a draconic bloodline.
Right.
So there is some innate magic that flows from that bloodline itself.
Cool. We'll be talking shop for a while.
And you can figure out through that he's not quite as good of a magic user as you are.
Oh!
But you do have some shared knowledge. He knows the fireball spell.
I'll like show him some tricks. Talk about some of the cool things that I've done with my magic,
Yeah,
like
he's
banishing a.
very interesting.
And
in
leave
all
out
that.
all those other details.
Well, I'll tell him funny things that happen too
Like
sometimes,
the
like
first time when we met.
the flumes,
And the
Oh, yeah.
webs
the
everywhere.
spider webs.
Hmm.
So Thaddeus, you
Mhm.
find your way to the high table,
Mhm.
and it's not as if there are assigned seats here. Your father has taken the middle seat, and your mother has taken one next to him.
Okay.
But you beat Gavin and Astrid to get there, so you can sort of pick where you want to be in relation to your parents and to Gavin and Astrid.
I'll sit next to. Actually, I think it probably better to go sit next to. Michaelis.
Okay, so you take the seat sort of to the left of Lucavis because your mother's sitting on the right?
Yeah.
Okay. Which leaves an open seat next to you and an open seat next to Muriel. And Gavin approaches, and you can see he sort of scans the table for the open seats. And he spots that there's one next to you, and there's one next to Muriel. And he takes a step towards the one next to Muriel, and then second guesses for a second, looks back, and then continues walking and sits down next to Muriel. And then Astrid takes a seat next to you. And then in short order, dinner is brought out, and suddenly there's a buzz of conversation as people are just discussing who knows what, noble matters. There's a collection of merchants and other nobles, some of whom you recognize and some of whom you don't. And it's just a general lively buzz all about the room.
Yeah, I imagine there's just a lot of like work gossip and stuff.
Yeah, quite a bit.
I'm trying one of everything, and I'm feeding my dog everything.
Oh yeah, Bree gets a kick out of your dog.
Did you name your dog yet?
You
Nazria!
snuck
No,
this
that's
thing in?
What?
You snuck this thing in?
No, I brought it right under their noses.
You rebel. Man, that's classic.
Yeah.
Just don't let Dawn see. She'd be really
Mad?
Yeah, she'd be mad.
Why? Jealous?
Well, probably because you're sitting with me, she'd assume that I brought the dog in. And she's determined. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'm gonna say it anyways. She's determined not to be the one to mess this night up, and so by extension, if we mess it up, she's messing it up. You know.
Okay. Well, the tablecloths, do they reach to the floor? Are there tablecloths on the tables? I kind of assumed.
Yeah, they're really
I just
long.
have
They
the
do
dog
reach to the
under.
floor.
So, I mean, Nazria's a good dog. She'll just stay right there.
What's your animal handling skill?
I guess yeah. Roll an animal
2.
handling check. We'll see how this goes.
+2. Okay. I mean, she's on a leash.
You're going to be able to keep it there because you have it on a leash. It's just a matter of how
I'm
much of
using
your
the
effort
Percy
is
die.
really.
Don't fail me, Percy. Oh, that's not bad. 13.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, someone must have trained this dog at some point because when you get it into a sit position and sort of tell it to stay, it knows what, it seems to get what you mean.
I like rewarding with
But
treats.
occasionally it does get up and try to walk away, and you have to sort of pull it back and put it back in a sit position.
Sit. Here. Food. Sit. Food.
Thaddeus,
It's like food?
could you make me a perception check?
Sure.
since you sort of have the view of the room.
Yeah. That's gonna be an 8.
8. Okay. With that, you'll probably notice. Well, you're not. You're on the side opposite your mother. You would notice more of what you've already seen before. Just sort of as your gaze is drawn across the room and eventually lands on the Whitecrest family, you notice that Runa, your betrothed,
Twin. Yeah.
your fiance's twin. Yeah.
Sydney's twin, right?
Signy's twin.
Is it Signy?
Signy.
Okay.
Sydney.
Signy's twin Runa.
Can you spell that?
Signe.
Okay.
Her twin Runa doesn't take her eyes off of Gavin.
That's I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna like come and nudge my dad.
Uh-huh.
Say, oh, I can't help but notice that Runa, Whitecrest has been. There's something going on between Runa and Gavin.
Well, no, I wouldn't say there's something going on between the two of them. I told you that the Whitecrest family came and visited once while you were in Adeus training, correct?
Yes. I've met Signy.
Yes. Well, Gavin met Runa then, and she, if I must say so myself, seemed quite taken with him. But you know your brother. He, it's not easy to get along with.
It's like swallowing your tongue here. Yes, I can. Not much aptitude for matters of the heart.
Well, it's not so much that, because who's to say? He may have some great capacity in that direction, but it's more that I think he finds her persistence annoying.
So she has been persistent.
Very. We received frequent letters ever since they visited. I saw him read the first one, but never one after.
That is a shame.
But you have to admire the girl's spunk.
I think she would do him good.
Perhaps. Roll an insight check.
Okay. Something better at this one perception. 18.
As your father nods and says perhaps, you can see like his eyes dart to the side for a second, and you can tell that it's not like he's lying as he's giving this vague answer. It's that there's something he's not telling you that relates to this in some way.
I'm gonna go over to Runa.
Okay. Yeah, I mean now that dinner's been served, there are occasionally people getting up, so that wouldn't be out of place. There's no open seat at their table, but you could come over and tap her on the shoulder or something.
Yeah.
And she's sitting right next to Signy, so as you approach, Signy sees you coming in and says, "Oh, Thaddeus, you've come to sit with us for a little bit? I think that would be absolutely lovely." And she touches your arm and she says that.
For just a moment.
Let me get a seat. And she claps her hands and sort of like motions for a servant to bring over a seat.
Actually, I have an idea. Why don't I sit where Runa is sitting, and Runa can go and join the Hammerlock family.
Runa gives you a look, like a very elated look, and then dashes off in that direction and takes a seat next to Lucavus and Astrid. And Astrid actually strikes up a conversation that you can see almost immediately. It looks like they have a little bit of a rapport.
Okay.
So, well, I'm absolutely delighted that you came to sit with me for some time.
Our conversation earlier was broken short. Sorry about that.
Extremely short, but I have a feeling we'll have plenty of time for conversation in the future.
No doubt.
And like throughout all of this, she's doing that thing where she's just finding excuses to like touch your arm and things like that, like make physical contact in any way that she can.
Go on.
Did you try any of this this butternut squash? It's absolutely delightful.
I find it. I agree.
And she takes a bite of it. This is some of my favorite food. You can't get it. You can't grow squash like this up in the cold mountains where I'm from.
Where does this come from? Do you know?
Well, I assume it's grown around here. I'm not
I'll have to ask my
entirely
mother.
sure.
She knows a great deal about these things.
Ah, yes. She would be the one to know. And then, as you bring up your mother, because there's more than just Signy at the table as well. Eric and Kari Whitecrest, Signy's parents, are also sitting at the table. And Kari chimes in and says, "I haven't had a chance to speak with your mother yet. How is she, darling?"
She's doing very well. I think that she's going to miss the gardens back home, but she's eager to start anew here.
I was always enthralled to hear her speak about her garden, and I would love to have more opportunity to do that in the future.
She doesn't live here. It's like they live up north.
Yeah,
right?
they live. So there's like this mountain range that divides the continent in half,
Mhm.
and they live in the mountains in the northern part of that. They have a barony there.
I want to ask. I'm going to ask. What was it, Eric? Eric
Mhm.
Whitecrest?
Him. Now that you're close, you can see that his cape that he's wearing, he's got like a noble's cape, and it's fastened with an ornate brooch. Go ahead and roll a religion check.
It's a lot of checks for this one conversation.
It's 2 conversations technically.
11.
11. Easy enough. I mean, it was a low DC, especially since you spent time in the day. So you can see that it is actually a insignia of a deity, the deity Cord, the god of strength and storms. And so yeah, he's using that symbol to clasp his cloak.
Interesting.
I want to ask him how long have you known my father?
Ah, your father and I, we go way back. I want to say that my father was friends with Lucavis's father, and every time we visited the southern areas of the continent, we made sure to stop by the barony. You should hear the adventures that I dragged your father along on. Some of them were quite incredible. Did he ever tell you about the time that I saved him from the wild boar?
I actually don't believe my father has ever mentioned any adventures in his life. To hear him speak, he's been an administrator and a governor all his life.
Yes, well, if he had his way, that would be the case, I'm sure. Of course, it was always me dragging him along, but we had some good times.
And was it then, in those old good times, that the lovely Signy and I were promised each other, or did that come later?
Well, that is within more recent years, but we've just... last time I visited your father, we had a discussion, and I have a son, or he has a son, I have a daughter. It just seems fitting that our family should be joined, after such long years of friendship.
I'm rolling an insight check.
Yep.
Nat 20.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there doesn't seem to be any malintent behind his words.
Okay.
Like, he is excited to have your families join. However, with that check, you recognize his voice as the other voice from a conversation you overheard as a child.
I see.
Now that you think back, you recall hearing this voice before. And while you were young enough at that point that he may not have given you a full introduction to every single person who came through his office to speak to him, this is without a doubt the voice.
Okay. I'm gonna cut this conversation short a little bit.
Okay. You're gonna stand up and leave the table?
And so yeah, I'm sorry. I just remembered something I have to attend to on.
Signy grabs your hand and says, "Are you really leaving so soon? I feel like we were just beginning to speak."
I just remembered. I'll be back later.
I do hope that's the case. We have much to catch up on. Okay. And where do you rush off to?
It's not. People are still sitting in Eden, right?
Yeah.
Like at the time, it's not come for people to get up and dance like that, right?
Nope.
Okay.
I mean, based on what you know of noble proceedings, you feel like the king will give some sort of speech or something like that. I'm not quite sure.
In that case, actually, I'm not going to go anywhere. I think Daddy's just like actually gets up and like when he recognizes the voice, like, excuse me, no, actually, it's and he sits back down
Signy is
and talks
absolutely delayed.
and talks more to Signy. I'll let Signy convince me to stay.
Yeah, she seems very excited about that. And like after you sat down, her hand like doesn't leave her.
Right.
So,
That's going
yeah. So what are you guys up to?
No romance novels.
So and then just spider webs everywhere.
The hunter's like, oh no.
And they trapped him.
He was stuck there. He couldn't move.
That's incredible.
Totally did that on
A
purpose.
big strong guy like you couldn't move. Wow.
It was the worst. It's like, nice to meet you.
That was after I saved your butt by waking you up.
Well, yeah, you woke me up and then sprayed me with webs.
Yeah, good times.
And he also looks very dashing and Antiheroes.
Sure does.
Just kidding.
As this conversation.
Speaking
is,
of which, I need that back. Did you give that back?
I did not.
I need that back.
Okay.
If you want me to enchant it
That
again.
should.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
as you guys are having a conversation, Harmony, by your left ear, you hear a voice. Why, hello there. Didn't think I'd be seeing you again so soon. And you recognize this voice.
See you
And
later.
as you turn to look at this area by your left ear, you see floating there, just ahead, disembodied from the body, of a tiny cat-sized dragon with yellowish skin.
What's his name?
It's Morin.
Warren. I'm gonna jump up.
And the head disappears instantly. It says,
Just sit back down.
strictly speaking, I'm not supposed to be here.
Oh, neither is my dog.
And then from behind you, striding up in a decadent suit, with a bow tie, hair pulled back into a nice little bun, is Mandus. And he pulls up a chair and puts it in between you and Bree and sits down. This castle was entirely too easy to get into.
Tell me about it.
Don't let anybody in.
Yeah, tell me about it. Look, they let me bring a dog in to a
He
party.
sort of looks under the table, just face palms.
Not seriously.
And I'm gonna get Mandus's attention. I'm like, it's nice to see you made it. And I'm gonna ask him, what do you think about the figure? And I'm gonna point out
Don't
that
forget, we're in disguise.
Yeah,
he can see through it.
I know he probably knows.
he
I'm just
spotted
saying.
Bree and Aramel,
Yeah.
and also Dragon's Head.
And Mara's there.
Yeah.
No, I know. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm just
Yeah.
saying, look, don't forget, everybody, that we're still in disguise.
Right. So I'm gonna ask him what he thinks about that figure that I was inspecting.
Yeah, he sort of leans back and takes a look. And the smile goes to the side. Well, he definitely has the right complexion for someone from your corner of the world.
Yeah. That's what I thought too.
He sort of looks again. Has the bearing of a wizard,
Okay. He was scanning the room.
and
Earlier.
he's still scanning.
Yeah, he's been like that the whole time.
It's a little bit concerning, but he doesn't seem to be doing anything at this point in time, so I think you can probably ignore him.
Okay.
I'm glad you're here. A lot has happened.
Yes, from what I've heard, I'm glad I'm here too.
You have no idea what we woke up to this morning.
His eyebrow raises, like he's ready for a story.
And we'll tell him.
Yeah, we can tell him.
Yeah, we'll tell him the whole story.
As you're telling the story, you can just hear like the reactions to the story from Morinth next to your ear, but the fairy dragon is invisible. And Mandus comments, "This one insisted I bring him along when he found out I was flying this direction to
I
meet you."
pat my shoulder for Morris.
He sort of flies to the other shoulder.
Classic.
Morris.
For Nick and Melissa's reference, there was a fairy dragon colony, and I don't have the monster.
I was there.
You were there for part
Were
of
you?
it, yeah.
That's true, you were.
First is
Fairy
Grizz,
dragons
and
are
then
like
Corey.
these tiny dragon-like creatures that are basically the size of a cat. But they pretty much think they're full dragons.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the group helped out a colony of these fairy dragons, and this one in
Lawrence
particular
was our
latched on to
guide.
Harmony a little bit.
Yeah, I wonder how the queen is doing, or whatever. One that we saved from the collar.
Yeah,
Iris?
I know.
What?
Isis?
Princess in today's session.
That's fine.
Iris.
Iris.
Is that
Iris,
all?
yeah.
you can
Not
use
Isis.
for princesses?
Yeah, I would ask, how's Iris?
Iris. Yes, well, she has recovered nicely. It was pretty much an instantaneous recovery after you removed the amulet.
Good.
Yes, she still rules over our colony with a powerful dragon fist.
You guys aren't hurting any more of those pixies, right?
No, of course not.
Good.
We hang out sometimes, though.
Play games. Play tricks on them.
On each
Mostly
other.
tricks.
Yeah,
On
that's
each
what I
other.
thought.
Yeah. Alright, that's good.
And so Mandus is sort of looking around the room and says, "So I see Thaddeus is at the high table over there.
Mm-hmm.
You said this party is to commemorate."
His father
The
is a
dukedom?
duke, or is becoming a duke. I don't really get how these human rankings work.
Well, a promotion from a baron to a duke is a rather large deal. It's very rare. It doesn't often happen. Usually something extraordinary has to happen for that to take place.
Extraordinary, like the death of 6 of the 8.
Yes, but that wouldn't necessarily relate.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't necessarily not relate either.
It's true. This is true.
So we told him the story.
Yeah.
Mandus also does a little bit of catch up with Bree and Aramel and Dawn, or not Dawn, and
Ignatius?
Ignatius, since he knows them as well. And you can see whenever Mandus interacts with Ignatius, it's very, I don't want to say like reverent, but like there's a degree of formality between those two that Mandus doesn't necessarily put up with Bree and Aramel. Ignatius doesn't seem to pick up on it. He's like just as casual.
So Mandus is more formal?
Yeah,
When
he has like a
speaking to-
slight increase in formality between
Oh, okay.
how he speaks to you and how he speaks to Ignatius.
Okay.
Connect with the Australian accent. Sorry.
Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman? Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm okay with that.
Which one of them were you mentioning?
Mandus.
Okay.
Man, this is Hugh Jackman.
You don't want to hear me attempt in Australia.
Well, you said the dragons have different dialects, so that's
You can
just what
continue
I
to imagine
adopted.
that though.
That's fine, yeah.
I've already imagined where we are and stuff in my head, so.
What's Thaddeus doing?
Just
I think
keeping it waiting.
After like another 10 minutes or so of speaking with Signy, he is going to excuse himself and go over to Gavin.
You can see that Runa has pulled your chair around to Gavin's side of the table.
Good old.
And she's
Good
basically
move,
like
Runa.
hanging on the edge of the table, talking to him, while he just sort of like looks away and eats like this.
Gavin, you're being rather rude to Runa here. Have you not taken a look at her? Have you not seen the fine clothes? Have you not seen her diamonds?
He looks up at you with daggers in his eyes. And then he looks over at hers very begrudgingly. And he says, "Yeah, they're great," and goes back to eating.
The diamond.
I thought it's been very enlightening speaking to the White Crests. I've learned a great deal about their diamond mines.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Let's see how cool Gavin is. Gavin just looks up at you and replies, "Yes, well, they do have some of the largest diamond mines in the country, as you know. Runa, if you'll excuse us, I think that Thaddeus wants his seat back." And Runa just like looks at you and sighs a little bit and then says, "Fine, he was nice enough to let me come up here anyways," and goes back to her table.
I'll sit down next to Gavin.
Okay. Wow.
That's Gavin.
Gavin is ignoring you and eating unless you try to engage.
Do you? Is
Yeah.
this the place for it?
You know what I'm talking about, then, don't you? I wasn't subtle.
Gavin looks up at you and says, "No, I know what you're talking about." And then he looks over at your mother, who is in a conversation with your father, and says, "But I don't think this is the place to discuss it."
That's why I'm discussing it here. Because I finally have you at a disadvantage, where you can't run and flee to your room and shut yourself in.
Oh boy.
Gavin says, "Look, Thaddeus, I said this isn't the place to talk about it. Let's talk about it later. Roll a wisdom saving throw."
Okay.
That was a D20 that you had your finger on.
Listen, it's one of my good ones.
Fingers crossed.
It's still a 14 though.
It's not enough, unfortunately.
Okay.
It's a suggestion spell.
Yeah, I think.
And so you suddenly no
Wait,
longer
is this
feel.
a charm? Wait, no,
It is a charm.
It is a charm.
Okay.
Okay, I don't get anything special against that. But
Yeah, you're not.
later on, I think I might. But not yet.
So yeah, you can tell that this magical effect has come over you.
Mhm.
Your throw is high enough to realize that much. But you no longer feel the will to discuss it, and is as if you try to bring it up at this point in time, it just sort of like the words don't come to your lips.
In that case, I'll say, fine. Later.
Good.
What is it you have against Bruno?
If you must know, I don't have anything against the girl. She's just incessant.
Both of them are rather persistent.
Yes, I gather it's a family trait.
Your father certainly seems strong-willed when I spoke to him as well.
The way that father tells stories about good old Eric Whitecrest, it sounds like he was a slight victim of the Whitecrest persistence as well.
It makes three of us. Common failing of the Hammerlock men.
I suppose so.
Dad saving throws. Is it hereditary?
I was trying to think if Gavin would say something about this, but I don't think he will yet. So, yeah, Gavin just sort of lets it lapse into silence again after that. Goes back to eating.
Yeah, I'll just go back to eating myself.
Okay. As you get up and sort of glance to the side, you can see that Valerie, from her position a few tables over, had taken a step or two forward. But she goes back to sitting at her table. You can see that her eyes, for the most part, hang out on Mara, and then they scan back over to you.
I'm gonna watch the rogue figure instead
Okay.
of everybody else. I'm just gonna keep my eye on them until dinner is over.
He is mostly just watching over the royal family, and you can see a few people, very few people throughout the dinner, but a few people approach the royal family's table and give very brief greetings. But each time they approach, he intercedes and they talk to him first, and then sometimes he turns them away, and then sometimes he seems to let them through, and they go and they will give bows before the royal family and give brief greetings and things like that.
So I've been around Harmony for a while. I want to see if there's any sign of does he have a staff or a rod or
Yeah.
or an orb or anything?
He does, and he sometimes, when he's back against the wall, sort of observing, he will lean on it. He has a staff, but then when he goes forward to intercede with people, he leaves his staff leaning against the wall.
Okay. All right, so I'm pretty sure I know who he is at this point.
You could roll a history check, I suppose.
Why
And
not?
I think that Thaddeus would, anyone could do it.
I'm not looking at him.
Well, that's a 7.
I've been looking at him.
Yeah, you think,
I
don't know
have
who
my
he is,
suspicion.
he's
I got a natural 20.
Okay, You recall Leah telling you that there was one wizard from the Assembly of Eight who was sequestered within the castle.
That's
Um,
The necromancer?
Yeah, the master of the school of necromancy, a wizard named Yin. Or Yin, was it?
it was Yin.
Yin.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
If Yin's still alive, and at least as far as we know, Welby Toss Couple is still alive. Transmutation.
Is anyone else going to do anything, or is dinner
Can
progressing?
you remind me who else is here?
Right.
Because I've been sitting here like, yeah, I'm talking with these guys. Don't remember that there are other people to talk to.
There is, of course, the whole Hammerlock family.
Yeah,
There's the king and queen.
I'm not going up there.
He's talked to them enough.
They don't like me.
Valerie Nightingale.
I'm talking to Valerie.
There is gnome, an old gnome who, in a very dapper suit with a colorful bow tie.
Right.
And he's sitting next to a gnome who you know to be
Pilzip?
Pilzip Thimblefoot. So you could presume that the other gnome is Zilpip Thimblefoot, the owner, CEO, proprietor of Thimblefoot Enterprises.
Pilsup was the one that was interested in my magic the other night, wasn't he?
Yes. There is a group of individuals who you can see are sporting holy symbols that resemble like a copper or some sort of gear. Some of them have different colored gears, they're not all the same colors. But then there's one among them who seems to be like the focus of all of their attention, and he has like a gold gear for a holy symbol. Then there's the Whitecrest family, and then there's a whole gaggle of merchants and other nobles who are just sort of background people. So those are all the main people you recognize.
I'm at a loss because I'm really wanting to make some mischief. Mandus is sitting right there. And I want to be on my best behavior for Mandus.
Well, at least you have the dragon that would root you on.
Yeah,
Very,
that's
very
right.
Mara, do you feel like you can do mischief?
Morin,
I already did. I rubbed everybody.
I'm gonna wait for Mandus to kind of be engaged in conversation elsewhere.
The most obvious time is when he's talking to Ignatius.
Yeah, and I'll like lean over. Morin,
Yes.
do you see those gnomes over there? The one with the colorful bow tie?
Do I?
I think that you should go play some tricks on them.
Ooh, now that is a tempting invitation. Any suggestions? I just searched for more from D&D Beyond. He's not. I need Fairy Dragon.
Fairy dragon. Let's
There he is.
see. What were the kinds of things you used to do to me?
Hmm.
You stole from me.
Yes, well,
That's not really fun, though.
the invisibility of my people makes that easy.
Pretty easy.
This bow tie, don't kiss me.
Yeah, well, or... I don't know.
Let me see. Okay, so Morinth has at his disposal the spells Dancing Lights, Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, Color Spray, and Mirror Image, in addition to his invisibility. And then he leans in and says, I do have one other ability that could be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
And he sort of, there's suddenly by your nostrils a puff of this purplish, pinkish, sparkling smoke, and I need you to make a wisdom saving throw.
Cool. This is not going to go over well for me. 19.
19? Okay,
That's
you
not bad.
succeed. But as the puff of smoke, you breathe it in, you can feel this like this euphoric sensation rushing across all of your nerves as you resist the effect.
Oh my god. Do that. Do that.
He chuckles. This will be exciting.
Oh man.
So yeah, you can see
If they have anything shiny.
You see
Try to
little
snatch it and bring it
places
back to me.
as like Mornith will like flitter throughout the air and then land briefly like in some mashed potatoes. And so you can see like an imprint of that, and then he takes off again, and then he'll flitter, and then he'll land on top of a noble's head, getting mashed potatoes on the noble's hair, and the noble will be like, bug! And then the dragon just sort of like invisibly continues to flit over in that direction, and pulls up underneath Zilpip Thimblefoot and uses its Euphoria. And you can see Zilpip Thimblefoot just like this rush of like joy and happiness spread into his face, and he says, well, you can't tell what he's saying, it's too far away, but you can just see like these exuberant movements like as he's talking and saying things like you don't know what's going on, but like everyone around him is bewildered by the sudden burst of energy from what was already a very energetic gnome.
What did he roll with a saving throw?
Very well.
And I'm over here just like cracking myself up watching it.
And then you hear a voice back by ear. How was that?
Oh, that was beautiful. I've missed you so much.
Well, don't get too full of yourself. I haven't missed you. But there's a chuckle after that you can infer.
I know
he's
that he's. I know that he did.
He did insist on coming.
I know that he did.
All right.
So that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's great.
Is Hunter doing anything?
Just probably talking with Mandus and maybe.
Manus is very alert because of everything you've told him about what's going on.
Yeah.
He's just kind of surveying the entire room as you talk. Like he doesn't make a lot of eye contact with you.
Sure.
He's constantly moving.
Tell him that I identified that person and explain what it is.
And then he will reply, yes, well that would make quite a bit of sense. I've noticed that this figure is interceding when individuals approach the royal family.
Yeah.
Which would be a potential job for someone of the Assembly of Eight. It's intriguing that they seem to have the same lineage as those from the Elderhaven Reaches. I'm not sure quite what to make of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Not sure either.
At this point in time, the king and queen stand up as dinner seems to be coming to a close, and servants are beginning to come out and take plates. And the king launches into a very long-winded and flowery speech, which I'm not going to just say it all. I didn't want to write out a whole speech, but it goes on for quite some time.
Harmony starts nodding off.
And at points in time in the speech, the queen, Anastasia Elise, will take over and she'll be speaking, and then the king will take back over, and they sort of alternate like that throughout the speech. And all of it is just, we're gathered here today to honor the Hammerlock family for all of their achievements throughout the city, both in business and in yada yada yada. It goes on for a long time.
Well, what? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, is there any like interesting points that we would take note of?
What sort of things would you be interested in?
Anything that would, I don't want to say like incriminate, but like that would suggest that has anything to do with like the big businesses or like the.
Roll an insight check.
Okay.
He mentions that Lucatus has been a big part of supporting Thimblefoot, and
Yeah, I got a 9.
Thimblefoot's then helped to grow the city and things like that. There's nothing necessarily that you would notice with that role that is out of place, but
Sure.
there does seem to be a lack of significant achievements. Like Mandus said, you should be suspected.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
It's a good all-around guy.
About how far away is our table from the king's?
Maybe like 20 feet, like down a little bit and 20 feet back.
I'm gonna, while all this is happening, because I don't care about what he's saying, I'm gonna use my divine sense, just idly.
Okay. What is that? What all does that give you?
I can open my awareness until the end of my next turn. You know the location of any celestial fiend or undead within 60 feet of you that's not mine total cover.
Celestial, fiend, or undead.
I also detect presence of any place or object that has been consecrated at this time.
I think. Make sure they're Celestial Fiend or Undead? Let me check one thing.
My head, the song that's playing is for He's a Jolly Good Fellow. Because if there's nothing like significant, it's just he's just a good guy. Good guy who takes this. Way to go. Way to be a
Yeah,
guy.
you don't, within, it's 60 feet, right?
Yeah.
Within 60 feet of you, you don't sense the presence of anything celestial, fiend, or undead.
Yeah, this is like,
And that would cover most of the hall, to be honest.
yeah, this is like the free version for a paladin version of detect good and evil, but that detects way more things.
So, as far as you can tell, there's nothing like that in this area.
Okay. Good to know.
Can we dance now?
Then, towards the end of the speech, comes a slightly more interesting part. Queen Anastasia is speaking, and she says, and, of course, well, not of course. She says, and there's one more announcement we would like to make, which is another cause for celebration this evening. And it just so happened to tie in perfectly with the event. And then the king takes over and he says, I'm speaking, of course, of the engagement of my daughter, Dawn Arendora, the Princess of Farendale, to Gavin Hammerlock, the son of Lucavis Hammerlock, who shall after tonight be a duke of this great city. And then there's like a gasp of surprise, and then followed
I
by
think that is part of that gas.
followed by applause throughout the entire chamber. And then the king sits down
Probably
again,
spits her drink out.
and servants begin to bring out drinks and things, drinks and desserts. You look over at Gavin as part of this shock, I'm assuming, and he just has the smuggest look on his face. And he meets your eyes, and then he just looks back at the hall. Absolutely smug.
What is Runa looking like right now?
Runa has fallen backwards out of her chair and is trying to pick herself back up off of the ground.
I thought that they were engaged, but I guess not. Okay. Okay. Cool.
And like Signy is trying to help her back up too.
I'm gonna grab Bree. Did you know about this?
No, Bree also has stood up, making a racket as she slams her hands down onto the ground, and just says, "What?"
Remember, don't ruin it for Dad.
I feel like probably enough other people here are making enough noise.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah,
Reese,
it's
what?
covered up by the thunderous applause, but it's loud, and as you're trying to get her to sit back down, she's shaking a little bit. She's like, I had no idea.
Okay.
Dawn
so
didn't tell me anything.
We'll make a plan, because this can't happen. Gavin is an asshole.
Yeah, who is this guy? Who
He's
is
an
this kid?
asshole. He's the worst person I've ever met.
He looks like an asshole.
Yeah.
Look at his smug little face.
Bastard. I'm gonna say, Morinth, do that euphoria thingy to Gavin. Do it now. Go.
Morton says, you don't have to ask anybody.
Yeah.
Again, leaps
I
off.
know. Wisdom saving throw.
Nothing works on Gavin.
You never know.
Gavin rolled a 19.
Yeah, see?
He sort of,
Can I use Tides of Chaos on other people
yes,
to make them
I
reroll?
think so. They just have to be visible to you, right?
I don't know. I have to check the
Really?
book.
That's kind of cool.
I've only ever really used it for myself. Because if I can use it, I'm using it. It's monk. You can manipulate the forces of chaos, chance and chaos to gain advantage on one attack roll, ability check, or saving throw. No, so I can't use it on other people. That's bad luck.
You can't give them a discount doing.
I would love to do that.
Even if you bent luck, it wouldn't
It
work.
wouldn't work with
on
bad luck, yeah,
his
so
19 on the dice.
yeah,
So.
so I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, Gavin coughs and waves
I
away
mean, that's
his
funny enough, so.
euphoria. It breaks his smug expression for a
That's
moment.
enough.
And Bree's just like, heh.
Close enough. No, we'll work out a plan. We'll work out a plan right now, because that can't happen.
Yeah, this isn't gonna stand. There's no way.
He's not even really.
Yeah, I don't really care who he is.
He's not even really who he says he
Some of
is.
this arranged marriage crap, that's not going to happen. Not on my watch.
Yeah. Yeah!
And
I'll drink to that!
Aramil just puts his hand on Bree's shoulder and says, patience. We need to wait until we hear Dawn's side of this.
And what does Valerie look like?
Valerie,
Also very
What's her
fun.
reaction and when
she's not surprised. There's
Not
no
surprised.
look of surprise on her face. There's a slight smile.
I think the next person that is Dawn.
Dawn has sort of this resolute expression, like she is very clearly trying to remain expressionless.
Is that something you can roll insight on and see if you can see through it?
Yeah, you can roll inside
Yeah.
out.
Let's
You
all
both
do
can.
that.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Busy
you can
plotting
see
with
Dawn
Bree.
even from this distance. It's even hard to tell.
I got a 12.
12.
I don't know.
Yeah,
about
her
that
expression
well.
is very purposeful though. Like she's intentionally keeping it this way.
Okay.
Gross. Alright, so after the applause dies down.
Just when you guys thought that the Hammerlock drama couldn't get any bigger.
Well, there's the
I thought I
significant
couldn't
thing.
hate my brother anymore.
What?
You thought McCavis was your villain. It's Gavin. Oh man. Okay. Yeah, and so the applause dies down and drinks and desserts are brought out. There's all manner of pies and cakes and pastries and really whatever you could think of that you would want to eat as a sweet dessert after dinner. And the drinks that are brought out are like dessert wines and sparkling alcohols and things like that, champagne and such. And at that point, when the champagne is brought out, the floor sort of opens up for toasts, and a few nobles begin to stand up and give toasts to the Hammerlock family. A few of them give toasts to Gavin and Dawn. One of them who does that being Eric Whitecrest. I couldn't think of it's white something. I couldn't think of.
I always want to say White Sphere because in my other campaign I think to see his name is White Sphere.
White Crest.
Yeah, Eric Whitecrest. He gives a toast to Gavin and Dawn. That's just very over the top and like, yeah, it's just very, very boisterous, I suppose.
Thaddeus has lost his appetite and isn't good at hiding it, so it's what they're
Uh-oh. Fatty doesn't look happy. Why should he be unhappy though? He's never met Dawn.
I don't think it matters.
Is he just always unhappy? I'm starting to wonder that.
Do any of you want to do anything?
Probably because it wasn't on the agenda. That's not written here.
If,
Nowhere in this agenda
if
does it
the
say
floor is
Gavin gets
opening up
married.
to dancing, then I think we're not locked to our table anymore.
Yeah, after
basically,
some of the
so-
toasts go by, and there's like maybe half an hour of toasts where people just keep getting up, people you don't care about, random nobles and things like that.
Do we know that you're betrothed? I think we were there.
I told you.
Yeah, you told us, but we don't know that she's here.
Right.
Do we?
Because
We've known. I mean, we've seen you talking to this girl. But
yeah,
like,
you've seen me go
you
back
were
and
talking
forth
to a
between
bunch of
tables,
people.
yeah.
Maybe we could infer.
I mean,
I think while all the toasting is going on, since Thaddeus is just too upset to deal with anything anymore, he's gonna go over to the Elder Haven Reaches looking man.
Sort of against the back wall.
Mm-hmm.
He sees you approaching and just sort of lets you approach. Can I help you?
Do you know who I am?
Yes, of course. You're Lucavis' son.
Do I know who you are?
I don't know, do you? I am Yin, the master of necromancy,
That's what I thought.
for the Assembly of Eight. You've met a few Elderhaven Reaches mages. You haven't had too much conversation with them.
He'll probably do.
Yeah. Enough to hear them speak. He doesn't have the dialect, like the dialect that they have. Like
Does
his-
Hunter speak in that dialect?
a little bit, but his tone of voice is a little bit weird
Synthetic,
because it's
yeah.
synthetic and
Yeah.
melodic.
Okay.
Yeah. But he doesn't have the dialect's the wrong word. The
Accent.
accent. Yeah, he doesn't have the accent we would expect.
Do I recognize the accent?
It seems very common.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's nothing special about it for this continent, this region in particular.
I thought I might take a moment to speak with you while all eyes are on my brother.
I suppose. What do you have to speak with me about? What is your business?
I've seen you vetting, shall we say, the people who come to speak to the king and queen.
Yes, well, that is a traditional function of the Assembly of Eight at gatherings such as this one. And as the only member here tonight, because apparently the rest were too busy to make it.
What are you vetting
Or
against?
dead.
Well, it's more of a formality, really, but mainly if someone is determined to have the status and the business worthy of their time, I will let them through.
I see.
And otherwise, they do not pass.
I see. I've met two of the Assembly in recent weeks.
Have you know? I haven't heard from any of them in weeks.
I've seen Heli Iron Shield and I've seen Liam. Very recently, both.
And how are they doing?
They're both dead.
His eyes. He makes a bewildered face, like it could be whether you're just bold enough to say that or whether he's actually surprised. I guess roll an insight check.
Okay.
But the face he makes is very surprised.
That's an 8.
Yeah.
I'm not
You're not sure necessarily, like, whether he's surprised to hear that they're dead or whether he's surprised that you're bold enough to bring it up. But he makes a very surprised face at that. They're dead, you say.
Yes.
Now, that is news. Helia was getting up there in years, but Leah was an Eladrin from the Feywild. They lived for a very long time.
Neither of them died of natural causes.
And he raises an eyebrow. Do go on.
Someone is killing the Assembly.
He looks really nervous and sort of backs up against the wall and takes
Not
a step
me.
away from you.
Not me. I'm here to prevent their... Well, not prevent. I'm here to avenge their deaths.
Well, that is a very serious matter if it's true. It would explain why I haven't heard from any of them.
Later on, I will come to speak to the king about this matter.
Yes, I think that you should. In the meantime, who is killing the assembly members? Do you mind?
For the moment, I do mind.
I see. Well, I would advise for you to take an audience with the king, but perhaps not on this occasion. Perhaps tomorrow. I could arrange a private audience.
Or tomorrow might be too late for you.
I am quite safe within these walls. I don't think much could reach me here.
Ellie died in her tower.
He looks shocked again at that. He says, "And how would you know that she died in her tower?"
Because I went to her tower, trying to stop her death. And I saw her corpse there.
If what you say is true, and if these people may be coming to the castle, it seems as if maybe getting out would be the best option for me. His voice is hard to maintain.
Yeah. It's kind of got this like evil Kermit thing going
Yeah,
on.
so when I was thinking about his voice, I was like, that's actually what I thought in my
Evil
brain. I was like,
Kermit.
slightly evil Kermit.
I can see where you would think that.
Evil Kermit.
But Leah thought the same thing. She thought it would be best to avoid public places and public notice, and then she died in an alley today.
So what are you saying is the best course of action in
Stay
this
right here.
situation? And arrange an audience tomorrow with the king, as I suggested?
Yes.
I see.
Tonight, as the gala winds down, come find me and my companions. And we'll see that you live until tomorrow.
He gives a nod and says, "I'm not sure that I can leave the castle tonight. I do have duties to attend to. As the only resident member of the Assembly of Eight here. I'm not the only one living, am I?
Not so far as I know. There is one other.
He looks very worried. He says, in any case, I can't leave this castle tonight, but I will come find you as this gala happens.
Good. And I'll see you later.
And he leans back against the wall, looking very worried.
Well, I'm good. I'm glad I gave him something to worry about.
Yes. The toasts begin to wind down, and servants come out and push the tables to the side, opening up a dance floor. Were you waiting for the dance floor?
To dance.
King Augustus Jerome and Queen Anastasia Elise are the first to take the floor, and an orchestra basically takes up the podium where the high table was, and they begin to play as the king and queen dance, and then Dawn cuts in where her mom was dancing and dances with her father for a little bit, and then slowly other nobles, starting with Lucavius and Muriel, and then Astrid pulls up Gavin's hand, and he looks really unwillingly, like it's really unwilling, but Astrid pulls Gavin up out of his seat and pulls him onto the dance floor, and then slowly other nobles and merchants begin to join the dance as well.
I'll go find Signy and dance with her first.
Okay. Yeah, she's absolutely delighted.
I'm gonna grab Bree and say, "Do you want to go find Dawn now? Is this a chance? We can go
Yeah,
here."
I mean, if ever there was a chance, it's now, but we gotta be careful not to be making too much of a scene, because too many people see me with her right now. Dawn will get mad because I didn't dress up.
Why didn't you dress up?
I don't have any fancy clothes!
But you're in a freaking city where there's lots of fancy shops.
Okay, look, if I'm honest, I don't feel comfortable in anything but this, okay? That's it.
You can always just make a, thing for her.
I can't, because I would have to recast the spell,
Oh, I see.
and I just don't. It's fine. It's fine. You know what? I'll go talk to her.
No, I'm coming with.
You just said
It'll be fine.
you can't get near her.
Don't worry about it.
You know what? I'm gonna put my hand on her and cast invisibility on her.
Oh, okay. Remember? Oh no, you didn't.
Seeming
type
is-
chaos.
No, I didn't. And seeming is not concentration, so I
Okay.
can do this. Can I do
roll-
this? Do I have spell slots for this?
You should.
I hope you
It's a
do.
pretty fresh day.
Yeah, we haven't done anything today.
We fought this morning a bunch of bullshit
not?
assholes.
It's true.
That was this morning.
There wasn't a short rest after that, or a long
Or
rest.
there
rather.
was no long rest after that. So I used a lot of spells this
Well,
morning, and I
mean,
don't
a long
have
rest
any.
doesn't necessarily have to be sleeping. You just need 8 hours of lights to no activity, which
Getting ready and stuff like
getting
that.
ready and stuff, I suppose, could count.
It's up to you. Because if that counts as a long rest, does that
Right.
mean I leveled up throughout the day?
In which case, to avoid that complexity, let's
No.
just say you haven't had a long
No,
rest.
but
I
I have all these sorcery points, so can I have done some sorcery point jungling just to get another second level spell?
Mhm.
How much does that cost? I
I
wrote
have
it
it on
somewhere.
Ignatius's sheet.
I wrote it
costs 3
somewhere.
sorcery points to get a second level spell.
Not on here apparently. 2?
So
3.
3. Okay. So there's 5.
I'm gonna.
Second level
I don't
cast
know what Amanda's
invisibility on
doing,
her.
but I'm thinking I'm gonna be watching the door to see who's entering and leaving, if any at all.
Yeah, Mandus is sort of like, he's watching the other direction, sort of, he's noticed that you're watching that way, and he sort of takes cue to watch the other direction. And he's keeping an eye mostly on the party members, and Bree, Aramil, and Ignatius. And just making sure that nothing approaches them that seems...
I'm gonna give
How's
the
it going?
leash of Nazria behind her to Mandus.
Mandus sort of like takes it absentmindedly.
I'll be right back. Watch Nazria.
Oh, wait, what? Nazria? You named the dog Nazria?
Yes!
He chuckles,
And
and he says she would have loved that.
right? And I cast invisibility on Bree.
Okay?
I say, okay, now
For
you
wild magic?
now you can get close. That was really close. 11.
I wanted it to happen.
I know.
Oh, God.
I know.
Charlie!
I say, you're invisible now. Nobody can see you. We can get close. Just, don't bump into a lot of people.
All right, I get it. Let's go.
All right, and we'll go off to find Dawn.
You find Dawn sort of sitting at the edge of the dancing floor, kind of watching absentmindedly as her parents twirl around.
And I'll go up to her in a curtsy and say, Your Highness.
As you do, the robed wizard from against the back wall approaches and sort of cuts you off as you approach and says, "And what might your name and business with the royal lady be?"
I roll my eyes. We're friends. We met back in Ravenmoor.
He looks at Dawn sort of for confirmation, and
I may look a little different than I did back then, but we had conversations. The name's Harmony. Ring any bells?
until you said Harmony, she was shaking her head. Because she rolled a 2 on her perception check.
Classic Dawn.
But when you say Harmony, she said, she puts her hand on Ian's back and says, "Ian, it's okay. You don't have to interject with these ones. I know her. She's
This
right. Right, this one. She can't see Bree.
Bree's invisible.
You don't have to interject with this one. I know her. It's okay. I'll be fine." And he backs off and goes back to the wall.
I'm the only one here who doesn't realize who Ian is, actually.
It's true.
Because I wasn't.
Mara doesn't either.
That's true. I wasn't spending any time I was just yeah, party.
Yeah, but that
The
potatoes on
series-
people.
I mean, that's true. I was really drunk.
You are a little drunk still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I rolled a really bad con save at the end of last
Yeah,
episode.
one.
Yeah.
The sparkly wines and things have come out too as
Yeah.
well. So.
Yeah. I've been good. Mantis is here. I'm on my best behavior.
Sure you are.
As
you
soon
had the
as
fairy
Ian
dragon
goes
do
away,
tricks.
The fairy dragon did the tricks.
Bree speaks up. Dawn, what the hell?
Yeah, Dawn. What the
And
hell?
Dawn looks really bewildered, Bree? Where are you?
She
Right over here! I'm invisible!
It was the best we could do to make her presentable.
Burn!
Oh, ouch.
Yes, I did glance you back at the back table, and thank you for staying back there and largely out of sight. I appreciate that. You know I wouldn't ask if it weren't important. But Harmony, what are you doing here?
I'd say, what are you doing here? But it's pretty damn obvious.
I suppose my secret is a little bit out of the bag at this point.
Yeah, a lot more than that. What the hell? Gavin Hammerlock? Are you serious? Have you even met the guy? Have you even spoken 2 words to him?
Yes, he's been coming with his father Lucatus to the castle every few days, every now and again. We've spoken some.
How does the thought of marrying him not make you want to gag yourself?
She takes you back a ways from the dancing floor, and you can hear Bree's clanking chainmail following you. And she says, "Okay, look, I'm not absolutely thrilled about the idea, but it's an arranged marriage. There's not much that I can do about it."
There's plenty you can do. You can say no.
It's not quite that simple.
It is, though.
Especially not now that it's announced. I tried to talk my mother and father out of it. They're set on this being an absolute perfect match in terms of social standing, and if they're that resolute, who am I to say otherwise?
Look. Gavin, though? Ugh. If you want social standing, why don't you marry his brother?
His brother?
Yeah,
I haven't
Thaddeus.
heard much about his brother.
Thaddeus is one of our friends. He's been traveling with us. He's, prickly and kind of awful too, but he's much better than Gavin.
I mean, if you're talking about Prickly, you've met my best friend, haven't you? And Bree goes, "Hey!"
Prickly seems to be your type. Hey, I'll introduce you. It'll be great.
Look, as exciting as meeting this other Hammerlock sounds, as I said, there's not much I can do about it at this point in time.
I think at this point Thaddeus is actually coming up behind
Oh yeah.
the others.
Ian gives you a look
It's
as
literally
you're approaching.
just me.
He goes to interject, but then he sees that it's you and he just goes, "Okay." He leans back.
I'll nod to Harmony. Lady?
Oh, hey, speak of the devil.
I don't know this one.
I'm gonna shine your armor a little bit with my sleeve. This is the better. You
Instead
better
of using
have her on.
prestidigitation.
Well,
Yeah.
Dawn stands up and does a curtsy and says, Dawn Arendor, pleased to meet your acquaintance.
You need to tell her not to marry your brother. Seriously.
Because I was just explaining to Harmony. He seems like a difficult person, but that's not to say I'm shying away from the marriage, because of course I will honor the agreement that
How
my
do you
parents
break
are
arranged
making.
marriages? It's stupid. You should marry who you want to marry.
Dawn is like,
Why
she's
do
trying
stupid people
to
do
apologize
this?
for Harmony here. She's like, no, this isn't what I think. Of course I'm thrilled to enter your family. I look
Dawn,
forward to many years.
Will you do the honor of dancing with my brother's fiance?
She like looks at your hand for a second, and there's like a second of hesitation, but then she takes your hand. Of course, I would not deny my future brother-in-law such an honor. And of course, the pleasure is mine.
Thank you. Wait here, please.
Okay.
Can I prestidigitation little hearts in the air? Between them.
Bree next to you says, sort of under her breath, but still really loud because she doesn't do anything quietly. She says, "I don't like him either."
Yeah, you're not alone in that.
What are Amara and Hunter doing?
I'm still just kind of watching the people in and out and seeing if there's any
Roll a perception check.
activities. Okay. Another 4. That is actually a 9.
You're watching the door, and there's, at this point in time, a few of the nobles, especially those that have children, are starting to leave. But no one seems to be coming at this point in time.
Oh, everyone,
Like,
only
servants
leaving.
will come in and out
Yeah.
and with, like, trays and things like that. They're replacing, like, platters of food and things like that. But other than that, everything seems avoided.
No new servants coming in and out?
That you can tell.
No.
They all wear this sort of generic
Sure.
servant outfit. I mean, it's a nice outfit. It's not dirty or anything like that, but
Okay.
it's very generic and like it blends well into the background, so they almost become invisible as they do their work.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just watching.
Mara doing.
Going up to Tilsip and asking him things.
Oh yeah, Pilzip? Not Zilpip, Pilzip?
Nice.
He was so happy. Did you see his face? You just made his day. Oh yeah.
Pilzip, right? Not
Yeah.
Zilpip, the grumpy one? Okay.
The one who got charmed.
Oh, that was Zilpit.
That was Zilpip, the
Okay.
older one with
Okay,
Zilpip is
whoever
the CEO of the company. Pilzip is the one you met before,
the party
Um,
at the Emerald.
who throughout this entire party has been looking very sullen and frustrated because his brother seems to be getting all of the attention.
Okay, so, but the one that was happy is the one I went with.
Zilpip?
Yeah.
Okay. As you walk up to this elderly gnome who is several feet shorter than you, what do you say?
So I haven't met him before.
No.
Okay.
But as you approach, you see Pilzip sort of sees you coming and says, gets ready to make an introduction, but you could interject if you wanted to.
Happy to introduce us, that's fine.
And he just says, "Ah, Mara, of course. I met Mara at." He's sort of like speaking to the whole table as if trying to make himself sound important. I met this beautiful young lady at a dinner I had with Lucavis Hammerlock and family. And then his brother, Zilpip, turns around and sees you and says, "Wow, what a beautiful lady."
Okay. And on that note, would you like to dance? I've been waiting forever to go dance.
I would be absolutely delighted. And you see he turns his bow tie like in a full circle, and then like takes a comb out of his pocket and brushes his hair back. And very little hair he has, and he takes your hand, and he's much shorter than you, so he's like reaching, like dancing with a child.
All right. Fun. All right. So we go twirl.
Yeah, and he says, as you're dancing, he tries to make a little bit of conversation. He says, and now how are you connected to the Hammerlocks? What are you doing here in this party?
Oh, I rendered some aid to their family at one time, and we're traveling together.
You and the entire family? That seems quite incredible.
Well, we've gotten pretty close lately.
I see. Well, I've never, can't say I've ever met Lucanus or Muriel or any of the family myself, but perhaps you know of me. I'm Zilpip Thimblefoot, inventor and CEO of Thimblefoot Enterprises.
Yes, your brother talked about you at dinner.
Ah, excellent, excellent. He's a good egg. And he's dancing with like this liveliness that you wouldn't expect from someone who looks as old as he is. And occasionally he'll do like a really flourishy move, and then as like where the two of you will like break apart a little bit, and then as he breaks apart, he combs his hair back with that pocket comb, and then comes back in.
His hair doesn't flip off, does it? Like
No, it's like it stays back, but he has this thing where he constantly
combs
combs.
it back.
Don't they both do that, you said?
His
Okay.
brother has a different mannerism.
Okay.
Hillzip, as you watch him, will sometimes absent-mindedly pull out a toothpick and pick his teeth with it.
Oh, okay. Alright.
Okay, so have I already picked his pocket? Let's try to pick his
No,
pocket
you
while we're
haven't.
dancing.
But okay, go ahead and roll a sleight of hand check with advantage because of your
Foresight. Or
foresight.
That's
One
pretty
more.
good. One more, just to see if you get better.
Okay.
What?
No.
Oh, I know exactly what it is.
So what was it? 14? So I got it.
No,
Like,
you
I
got
was 15. 15
Plus.
So 26.
26, yeah. In one of those moments where he's doing a little twirl, you just manage to get your hand right into the pocket and sort of go with the momentum of the twirl and pull out. And you get,
Not the comb.
you do get 4 gold coins and his spare comb.
Spare comb? Or
Use the next flourish to put the comb back.
Do you want to put the comb back?
Yes.
Alright, sleight of hand check. Again at advantage.
26. Oh, that's a good one.
Better.
27.
Yeah, and again when he's doing one of those twirls, you slip it right back in.
You're like, nope.
And on the grab on the way out, you get another 4 gold coins.
Who's Hunter dancing?
No one.
No.
Mandus.
Mandus and Hunter are sort of like sitting back to back, watching both sides of the.
Oh yeah, that's
hall
right.
as
You're on guard.
Hunter
Yeah,
covers the
we're
door, and
not
Mandus
doing
is
that.
sort of like watching the other end.
No.
I'm just gonna watch Thaddeus for a bit from where I am. Just patting myself in the back for being such a good matchmaker.
What's going on with Thaddeus and Dawn? Is he making conversation?
Yes. Since I have a lot to talk to you about in a very short amount of time.
Dawn suddenly, sensing your serious tone, gets a little bit more serious herself. Yes? About what?
There's something very wrong going on in this country. Yin there, he's the only one. He's one of 2 left alive. I don't know if you're aware of that.
One of 2.
8. 2 of the 8.
Are you serious?
I'm not joking at all. I have to tell you this. You have to know.
Does Harmony know about this?
Harmony knows.
What happened to the rest of them?
2 of them I saw killed. There's a conspiracy in this country called the Eyes of the World. They are killing them one by one.
Harmony mentioned this group when we met in Ravenmore.
Oh, let's go that far back.
Yes.
I'm not surprised. What I need your help.
What can
I
I do?
can't come to my father with this. I can't come to exactly with this. I think that they and Gavin Neck mixed up all this together. I have no proof, but worrying things have been happening. I need you and your companions to look after Yin's and make sure nothing gets by you. Yin has to survive the night.
Well, I mean, if you've spoken to Harmony about when we met before, you know that. Of course, we're willing to.
each other.
No, I don't think I did.
Of course, we're willing to help out and do what we can, but I've got to be honest with you. My luck isn't great. Things don't tend to work out when I set my mind to them. So it might be better if I organized a guard, perhaps. I mean, I'm sure Bree and Aranel and Ignatius would sit watch outside his chamber 24 hours if I asked. It's just... It might not be better if I were involved. It
Why
might
is
be
that?
better if I were not involved.
You seem like a capable priestess. Do you not have? Can you not?
She like looks down a little bit.
What's wrong?
Just like sort of averting her gaze from your eyes. No, it's nothing. Of course, I say my prayers every morning, and I follow the tenets of Pelor to the best of my ability. It's just that situations are often outside of... They often go wrong in ways that are outside of my control, and I know it's silly to blame luck, but it's the only way I can explain it.
Well, I understand. I understand the feeling, and I've failed myself several times in very important ways. I couldn't say the I couldn't say the end, but maybe you can say the end. I can't say it.
Roll a persuasion check. Or... Yeah. Are you trained in persuasion?
I am trained in persuasion.
Then yeah, persuasion.
Well, that's a 9.
Okay.
That's a 2 plus a 7 for a 9.
She... It's not that she's, like, against the idea, so... It's more that she just seems like you didn't manage to pull her up out of her disposition of being down on herself. She says, well, if you insist, then yes, I mean, of course, if the Assembly of 8 are being murdered within the city walls, it's my duty as the princess of this country and as a member of the Church of Pelor to do what I can to prevent that.
I say, well, do what you can. I'll pray for you too.
And she's sort of... You can tell that she's sort of looking around for your holy symbol. Because, I mean, Harmony mentioned, I think, that... Did you mention that?
I don't think I did.
Is your holy symbol someone else?
Harmony is holding my shield right now. I think it was...
Am I?
That's
I
right.
had to, like...
Oh,
Yeah,
did you give me your shield?
so I could dance.
Okay. I missed that.
And that's where your holy symbol would have been, right? So you don't have anything else that signifies.
Right.
Okay. So then she says, sort of timidly,
He did say he'd be praying.
when you say you'll be praying, may I ask to whom?
Sahin.
Goddess of the moon. I see.
Goddess of justice.
Ah, you mean Asane.
Oh, right. It's not me. Wow, I got it wrong.
Yeah, I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
Thaddeus
I
wouldn't
didn't
get
say.
that wrong.
I didn't say Sahin.
Thaddeus
Thaddeus
wouldn't get
didn't say
that
Sahin.
wrong. The goddess of the moon and of justice. I see.
Let justice prevail. Let Asana head to blessing. And Thaddeus pass.
And
So fast.
she it's sort of the end of the song as well, so she gives a little bow and walks back to the edge of the dance floor with you, since there's no one there to sort of... Yes, there is. Gavin approaches as you're backing off
Fuck no.
and says, hope you don't mind if I cut in.
Not at
And
all.
Dawn gives a curtsy to him and says, of course not.
This is your night.
And so he steps up and begins to dance with Dawn as well.
Thaddeus rolled his eyes.
Okay.
Oh, that makes me angry.
Oh, I knew it would!
There's
I was
nothing
so excited!
do.
Thaddeus joins Harmony and says, well, I've done all I
Before
can.
you get back, I'll lean over to Bree and I'll say, do you think you're dexterous enough to go in there and trip him?
Yes. The answer is yes. Yes.
Do you think you can do it without being caught?
Well, I'm invisible, right?
Yeah?
Still can't be seen, right?
Yeah.
She sort of like waves her hands. Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah,
Would tripping
probably.
be considered an attack?
Look, I'll just lay on the ground and like let him walk over me. He'll fall.
Do it! Go do it!
Okay.
I have to stay here with the stupid shield. With a giant diamond in it.
Yeah, the giant moon-shaped diamond.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure how Dawn missed that, but she's probably pretty preoccupied.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gavin definitely noticed the diamond in the shield as well. There is Gavin's saving throw bonus. Partway through the song, Gavin does trip over something and sort of stumbles backwards, pulling Dawn on top of him, anime style. And then you can hear a couple other people sort of like tripping over things, almost like a wave moving towards you as an invisible chainmail-clad halfling comes rolling your direction across the floor.
I'm just gonna be laughing.
And I think like at this point, like Mandus and Hunter would just be like, we would like look at each other and be like,
Morinth is laughing.
and then like we look at the dog, and be like, why are you with her? Like, why did she say okay?
The dog just kind of like puts its paw on you and like looks up at you, expecting food.
When Bree gets back, I'm gonna hold my hand out for a high five. Nice going.
That was satisfying.
That was so satisfying. You should have seen his face.
Oh, I was right under his face.
Oh my god!
I got the whole view right above me.
Oh my god.
She's my new best friend.
You shouldn't be best friends with Bree.
So yeah, you come back.
Yeah. Well, I've done all I can to warn the various people who can be warned. Yin knows, Dawn knows.
Yeah. Wait, the mage?
It's him, there.
Oh. Well, that makes our job easy.
Sort of. He's going to see us tomorrow. He's going to give us access to the king tomorrow, assuming he lives through the night, which I've asked Dawn to help him to do.
You asked Dawn? Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
What? I don't understand.
Let's just say the first time I met Dawn, she was a disaster.
That's where
She was hired to be the
Bodyguard.
of what's his face?
Cranston.
Lord Cranston.
who you killed.
And I walked in and fireballed him without any problem.
That's why she was so upset.
Yeah.
Because I asked her to be somebody's bodyguard,
And
that
the
didn't go
last
so
time,
well last.
yeah. Why can't we do it?
Because we don't live in the castle.
So,
So how are we going to get access to him?
can't Yin say something? Let us stay with him tonight? I'm sure he can pull strings, right? He needs a special guard. These are special circumstances.
Are Mara
Shoot,
and
even-
Hunter part of this conversation?
Even Dawn can.
No, I'm still with Mandus at the table.
Even
She's
Dawn
probably
can say
dancing.
something to her parents if it comes to that.
Yeah,
Because apparently she's a princess. Who knew?
True. Maybe I should go talk to Yin again.
You talk to Yin and I'll talk to Dawn. How does that sound?
See if she can stand watch.
Uh.
More of us the better, I think.
Okay.
I'll go talk to Yin.
Okay.
I'll
Dawn
motion
is
for Dawn to come
still
over
dancing.
when she's.
It kind of meets your gaze and, yeah, gives a little nod, but is engaged in what you can tell is some sort of quiet conversation with Gavin as they're dancing. You're still watching people come in and going?
Yep.
Go ahead and roll another perception check.
Okay, I got a
20. Okay.
not natural.
This person. You see as like the big doors to the room open, just sort of out of the corner of. It's basically you only have like a sliver of vision out into the hallway, but you think you see signs of, like you think you see the brief fluttering of a black cloak, but then it's gone down the hallway.
Down the hallway. Okay. I'll ask Mandus, did you see that?
Mandus turns to you and says, "No, I was looking the other way, but I can go investigate. What did you see?"
And I'll tell him I saw like a brief image of like a black cloak down the hallway.
He says, "I'm on it." And you watch as Mandus sort of moves back into the shadow of the door and completely vanishes.
Dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun.
That was like the most obvious thing. You're right in front of the camera.
Yeah, I know.
So Amanda's supposed to investigate.
Yep, and I'm just watching still.
I'm trying to get Dawn's attention.
I think Thaddeus would be the next person to approach the inn, right?
Yeah. Excuse me, Yin.
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, do you have a title? Should I be calling you
Well,
Counselor Yin? Master Yin?
students and lower members of society would call me perhaps master, but seeing as you're the son of a noble and a duke at that, there's no need for formality.
My companions and I, there have been a slight change of plans. We will be the ones to guard you tonight.
I see. And you still seek to speak with the king and the queen in the morning?
In the morning.
I see. So, will you be needing to stay outside my bedchambers, or?
I think it will be good if at least one of us is inside bedchambers.
I see. Well, let me go and make some necessary preparations.
Mara is very quiet, very professional. You will never know she's there.
He looks around the room. Which one is Mara?
You're gonna put
You see?
Mara in?
Exactly.
I see. Okay.
Put the thief in the room with him while he's sleeping.
Well, I suppose.
I don't think Thaddeus knows, like,
The extent
how
of her
sticky her
thievery.
fingers are.
I suppose I have no choice. So, excuse me while I go and make some necessary preparations, and I'll be right back. And,
I'll be right here.
He bustles off into a back door. Eventually, Dawn does come over after the next song ends.
So what did you think
Think of what?
of Thaddeus?
Well, he seems nice and all, but look,
Better than Gavin, though, right?
I mean-
Just agree with me on that.
Sure,
Okay,
perhaps,
that's all.
but
Look, I don't want to hear it.
It's neither here nor there,
I know.
considering the arrangement is made and there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah, there's always something. Anyway, that's not what I called you over to talk about. And I'll tell her, like, hey, so I know he talked to you about, like, watching Mage Guy tonight.
Right. He,
But-
Thaddeus mentioned that that organization who you spoke of before back in Ravenmore, the Eyes of the World. He mentioned that they're killing off the Assembly of Eight.
Yeah. And we are failing to protect them all, so yay.
Well, it seems as if it's my failure as well. I should have noticed something before
You
this
weren't-
point.
Okay, look, yeah, okay. So, anyway, we're gonna help you watch over him tonight.
If I'm honest, that's a relief.
Yeah, I thought you'd say that. But look, could you, like, I don't know, put in a good word with your mom and dad about us? Because we're gonna need to talk to them tomorrow about the whole thing. And
Yes, I can of course arrange an audience. That's no problem whatsoever.
Great. That would be really helpful. And also, there might be 5 of us. I think Mandus is here. You remember Mandus?
Of course. Yes,
Yeah.
I haven't seen him.
He's like that. He kind of blends in. But he's here. I'll make sure he comes and says hello later.
Knowing that he's here and that you're here makes me feel quite a bit better about tonight. So after the party, perhaps we could all get together and discuss our plans for protecting the inn.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Excellent.
I'll go over and let the rest of your motley crew know.
Bree speaks up at that point. She's like, I already know. Don't worry. I'm working on something, Dawn.
She's about of nowhere.
That's the voice.
I know. I mean, I was talking about the rest of the crew, and I.
Dawn sort of like pulls your ear aside and says, "Please don't cast invisibility on Bree anymore. This is more than my nerves can take."
I'm just gonna shrug. I don't know. I think it's kind of fun. Come on, Bree. I'll be like, good luck, Don. We'll meet here, and I'll point to a random place in the room. There.
A random place in the room.
Right here. Right on this. No.
Look, I can arrange for a servant to bring you to my chambers. I think that would be
Even
more
better.
private, so,
Even better. We'll do that. Enjoy the rest of the party.
of course.
It's good to see you again. Nice dress. I'm gonna
She
leave.
curtsies.
I like shiny dresses. So I'm gonna go back over to the table where Hunter is, and I'll.
And once he
And
hears,
Mara's not here. She's off dancing. I don't know where
Yeah,
she
is she still dancing with Zilpip or someone else now?
Oh, I'm making my way through the room.
Okay,
is. Through
make
the
some.
pockets.
First, make a persuasion check to see how many people are willing to dance
oh,
with.
That's
dang.
pretty good.
You can actually.
you did
twice.
What is your
No,
panache?
no. She didn't say an advantage for
She
persuasion.
has first force.
She has foresight.
Oh right. Okay. Sorry.
I don't think I'm gonna need it though.
Okay.
This is persuasion.
It's a
Okay.
charisma based test.
So 24.
24. Yep.
Roll again
Easy
just to
enough.
see if you get better.
You get several of the nobles, men and women alike, to dance with you. And you've already pickpocketed several of them from the earlier
From earlier.
parts of the festivities, but
Which
You're
one?
making me a friend.
Oh.
you can go throughout the room and pickpocket those who you haven't. Go ahead and roll your sleight of hand check at advantage because of foresight. Things that foresight has never been used for.
Right? Pickpocketing.
Yeah, give it to the right person.
Not that great.
The most noble of us all.
She's also got the starring eye, so.
Just. Okay, thanks. 20.
20? Okay. Let's take a look.
Plus 11, man. Crazy.
So you get a total of 10 silver and 10 silver and about 10 gold as well. But then also in one noble lady's pocket you find a trinket of sorts.
I think we can do that count. It's probably like a Price's Art object.
Ew! It's probably got his greasy
It's
bears
probably
all
magic.
over it.
One lady
Ew.
has a very shiny, like it looks like a pin in one of the seams of her dress. It looks like it's holding it together a little bit. You swipe that and pull it out because it's got that extra shine to it that draws your attention. And as you pull it out and sort of play with it a little bit, you find that it doesn't bend. So you have a needle that never bends.
I saw that. It's funny.
Maybe it's her embroidery. So as Hunter hears the clanking of invisible chainmail, he just holds the image back. Okay, it's yours.
I'll take delation. I thought I gave this to Mandus.
He's looking into something right now.
Okay. I'm gonna end the
As you say that,
invisibility.
Mandus is sitting next to you again.
He was looking into something.
I'm gonna end the invisibility on Bree now that we're back.
Oh
to the table.
man!
Eh,
I was just starting to have fun.
you were kind of getting us in trouble a little bit.
No one would have caught me.
I mean, except Dawn knew it was you, but that's
She knows
And then-
me better
and
than
then
anyone
I
else.
think together, like Hunter and Mandus both give him like the dad look.
Yeah.
Like,
Mandus
no one
does.
would have noticed. Like,
Yeah. When Mandus looks at her that way, she shrinks down in her seat.
yeah, we're like, okay. Oh my gosh.
So, is that guy over there? I'm gonna point at the mage.
That's one of the
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me?
You were off talking.
I mean, we were sitting here. Okay. Anyway, we talked to him and Dawn, and we worked out something about guarding him tonight and seeing the king tomorrow.
Okay.
So, Dawn's gonna meet us after the party to
Okay.
discuss. And you guys are in on it too. Aramil and Ignatius and everybody.
Aramil just nods.
And then did Mandus
And
find anything?
Ignatius sort of like looks up from, it looks like he was carving a wooden toy. He says, "Oh, okay, sure, certainly."
Protecting that guy. Point at the mage.
And he's in danger?
Yes.
I see. Well, hopefully this goes better than last time.
Well, this time we're on the same side.
Very true. Mandus puts, sort of like leans to Hunter and says, I went after what you thought you saw. There were a lot of people out there with black cloaks.
Any of them suspicious or?
I didn't see any with our favorite symbol on them.
Okay. With a hand?
No, none of that.
Okay.
Mostly just dress cloaks.
Oh, I
Nobles
see.
wearing those,
Mm.
but it's good on you for being vigilant about it.
We're trying.
So we're guarding someone tonight?
Yes. That guy over there. He's one of the 8.
Alright. Well then we'll need to make a plan. And Mandus sort of sits back in his seat. Just as the king and queen begin to take a spot back up on the podium, and the orchestra comes to a halt, and they announce that people are welcome to stay and dance for as long as they like. However, this concludes the evening's festivities, and then they retreat out the back door that Yin went through and hasn't returned from. Dawn following.
Did you follow Yin?
No, he said he had to go do something.
That's preparations, right?
Yeah, he had some preparations to make. But I told him I'd be right here.
That's right. He just didn't come back. Okay. That's worrying.
Shit, it's really fine.
Yeah, just like that alley was fine.
Yeah.
Sending Mara and Leah out without any protection, that was fine.
I think I'm gonna give him like 15 minutes of preparations to make before I go looking for him.
It doesn't take that long. He comes back after like 10 minutes or so. And he approaches you, Thaddeus, and says, "Alright, all of the necessary preparations have been made. The staff know to allow you on the premises and near my chambers. Is there anything I can do in the meantime, or should I just hide out in my room?"
Stay with us.
Stay with us.
It seems the party has ended, so...
We'll escort you to your chamber.
I see. Okay, well, in that case, where to? And you can see that your family is still enjoying the festivities for the most part. They don't look like they're quite ready to leave yet.
I'll make a motion to harm me. Snap my fingers.
I think he's trying to get your attention. And then Aramel will say, perhaps we should...
I'm gonna snap a motion for you guys to come to us. And I'm gonna take a big bite of something from the table.
That just crosses his arms, crossing.
And then I think like Hunter and Amanda's probably just gonna start walking to it. Like, alright, let's go.
Yeah, if Hunter goes next.
Yeah, I'm like, alright, well, let's go. Just like leave Harmony there in their little pissing match.
Where is Mara?
Mara's still out on the dance floor.
Pilfering.
I mean, at this point, you've pilfered most of all that you can get, so if you want to come back...
I'll go
You just do this.
sit with Harmony, because I'm pretty tired by now.
Where have you been?
I showed you my
Holy
little-
smokes! I'm so
Yeah, how much do you
jealous.
have total for this night alone?
Let's see.
It's a lot.
Yeah, because the other
The
day I
hoard.
got quite a bit. Well,
Just from this
3
night.
gold from, just from
Just
this
from
little
the
bit.
gala, yeah.
13 gold, 10 silver, and the pin.
Not bad.
Plus earlier in the gala from last episode.
You got something like 40 worth of objects that you can sell.
Yeah, I got
Jeez,
20
wow.
gold's worth.
Oh, what a haul!
Even
I
bad
know.
pays?
And a random white sequin glove, size for a human.
Nice.
Like,
Hey, I'm gonna
I was
this
missing
is
that.
my white one.
So then, as all of this is happening, servant approaches both Thaddeus and Harmony as they're sort of having this stare down and says, the Lady Dawn, like each of them say this individually, the two groups, the Lady Dawn Arendora has requested the presence of you and your companions in her chambers. I'm told to bring anyone you see fit.
Yeah, follow me.
No, okay.
I'm gonna stand up. Come on, we have work to do tonight. And I'll like
Cool,
motion for
I'll
Bree and
Bree
the
stands
others.
up. Hell yeah, let's go.
Yeah! Yeah! I'm like, gonna pick up my dog.
Okay.
Pick up
God.
that dog. Let's go!
The servants give the dog a little look, but I mean, they were told to bring anyone you see fit, so yep.
Nazria's coming too.
You're ushered back through that same back door that the royal family left through, and you can see Gavin gives you the look as you're leaving. Just sort of like, it's a curious head tilt.
I'll just raise my shield to him a bit.
Is the mage
And then
hand
turn and
visible? Or is it invisible?
This one.
I'm gonna mage hand the middle finger at him.
Okay.
as we go through the door.
You can see he does like a tisk thing with his tongue, and then he looks away. And then you're escorted down several corridors, up a few flights of stairs, and down a long hallway to an ornate doorway, upon which the servants knock, and you can hear Dawn's voice from within say, "Come in," and the doors open into Dawn's chamber for you guys to plan, and that's where we'll end for tonight.
Hey. Let's get it
Ooh.
on.
So much social.
No.
So that was our show for tonight. Lots of NPC interaction, but it was fun.
So much.
Things are about to get interesting, I think. So yeah, if you enjoyed, come back for more, share with your friends. We'll rebroadcast this tomorrow and try and be in chat to talk. So if you missed any, you can catch up there. Otherwise, the backlog of all of our episodes is on YouTube, so you can go and check those out. Yeah, hope to see you again. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Good night.